Hi everybody, this video is sponsored by contribution from Anonymous, and here's her story. Ollie, thank you for everything you do. Your videos are fantastic and help me so much. I have a long commute to work and I have listened nonstop to your videos every day for the past 3 weeks. You have changed my life. It is so nice to know there are other people with similar stories. I greatly appreciate everything you do. I always knew something was off with my dad, but I didn't realize it was narcissism until last year. Yes, it took me 40 years to figure this out. Last year, we went on a family trip. My older brother has a family and 3 kids. I am single, never married, and have dogs. We went to the lake for a week with everyone. My sister-in-law's parents were there also. At one point, my dad wanted to try a restaurant he found online. He asked me to ride in his car so I would put the address into my GPS to help navigate to the restaurant. My mom and dad were in the front seat, and my 8-year-old niece and I were in the back seat. I put the address into the GPS on my phone and showed my dad what I typed in to confirm the address with what he wrote down. He agreed the address was correct. We were the lead car, and the other family members followed in the 2 cars behind us. At first, things were normal. I showed my phone to my niece and showed her when we needed to tell Grandpa to make the next turn, etc. She had fun with this. At some point, my dad felt we were not going in the right direction. He told me something is wrong. You're not working the GPS properly. I said, I'm telling you exactly what it is saying to do. Maybe there's something wrong with the GPS, or maybe the restaurant is not listed properly. I asked him if he was sure if he wrote down the address correctly. This was all said to him calmly. I was not raising my voice in any way. He then proceeded to freak out in what I now know is narcissistic rage. He proceeded to tell me, you are so fucking sensitive. Why are you so fucking weird? You are so fucking weird. So fucking weird. He was shouting at me loudly. I told him to stop. I reminded him that my niece was in the car. I said, Sarah's in the car. Sarah's in the car. Dad, please stop. Sarah's in the car. I was tearing up and looking out the window because I didn't want to scare my niece and didn't want her to see me crying. My dad turned around and saw me crying. He said, this proves how fucking sensitive you are. How stupid to get upset over a GPS. My mom, who had been quiet, said, she's probably upset that you called her fucking weird. My dad then started yelling at me again. He yelled, fine, I'm sorry, okay? He said this in a loud, yelling manner and was pretty mean with how he said it. He then saw me to continue to tear up, and he got more and more mad. He yelled at me to stop crying because he had apologized, and how dare I be this dramatic. He told me I have so many issues and need to get over it. You are so fucking sensitive. After we got back to the lake, my mom asked me if I wanted to go on a walk. I thought she was going to say something nice like, sorry that happened, Dad has some issues. Instead, she ignored the entire car incident and just said, do you think your sister-in-law is okay? She seemed tired today. This whole incident was so weird that I got home from that trip and Googled, you are so sensitive. In my Googling efforts, I found out my dad is likely a narc and my mom is an enabler. We were not allowed to show emotion when I was growing up. If I cried, my dad would either say, you are such a good actress, we should give you an award, or you better stop crying, or I'll give you something to really cry about. Or you better stop crying before mom gets home. If she sees you crying, we'll get divorced and we'll have to sell the house and move into an apartment. You will be the cause of the divorce. This divorce tactic came up a lot. My dad always told my brother and I horrible stories about every member of my mom's family. For example, your grandparents, mom's parents, don't love you as much as my parents do because they smoke and don't care about your lungs. My parents set up a college fund for you. They love you more. Mom's parents don't care about your education. Don't tell mom I told you this. If she finds out, we will get divorced, and the divorce will be your fault because you told her this. We were expected to be perfect, straight A's the whole bit. If I got a 96 on a test, I was berated for not getting 100. We were given a list of chores to do every day after school, which we did flawlessly. The funny thing was that my dad would be irate if he came home and we were watching TV, even if chores and homework were finished. So we had a routine. We would do 95% of the chores. Whoever saw Dad's car coming down the street would yell, "Dad alert." We would jump in position, fluff all the pillows so it didn't look like we had sat on the couch, turn off the TV, and jump up to physically be doing a chore when he walked in. So even if I had unloaded the dishwasher an hour earlier, I would leave 4 plates in there so I could be actively putting plates away when he walked through the door. That seemed to keep him happy. We had to be perfect at all times. Anything that went wrong, i.e. spilled milk at the dinner table, would send him into a tirade. I could really go on and on. He would go to the bathroom with the door wide open and yell at us if we walked in there by accident while he was going. We weren't allowed to eat anything sticky. I had to sit on a towel until I was 16 at the dinner table because I might make a mess. He has weird spending habits. He is very cheap with everyone, but will spend a lot of money on himself. He came to visit me last year and urinated in my backyard after I asked him to use the bathroom in my house. He said he just felt like going out there and I better turn around before I saw his penis. After I found out about narcissism, I've been keeping my distance. I am low contact. Thankfully, they live 3 hours away. My mom has been acting as a flying monkey lately. If I speak to her on the phone, she puts him on and says, "Tell Dad that story." She also has been making comments lately like, "You never call Dad. You should call Dad more. He misses talking to you. Your brother always calls Dad." I'm getting the idea my dad is playing the victim and feeding to her what an awful daughter I am. I just tell her that the phone works both ways and find an excuse to get off the phone. My dad calls his high school buddy 5 times a day, but never calls me. I am thankful for this, but just think it is funny that he is complaining so much to my mom about how I never call him when he never calls me. Okay, like many other people, I'm going to have to break you some very hard, fat news here. Your mother's the real problem. Your mother's the problem. Your father's an asshole and he's obviously a childlike narcissist who probably resented having to go to work and it felt if he was working, everybody better be working. So there better not be anybody watching TV or having fun while he's off having to work because he's a childlike narcissist. Now, with you not around, your father is going to have his outbursts on someone else. And who do you think is probably bearing the brunt of those narcissistic outrages? Your mother. And your mother doesn't want to be the bearer of those outrages. So she comes with this, "You never call your dad" bullshit, because your mother's the one trying to suck you in to take the heat off of her. Your mother, by going on that walk with you after your father upset you, okay, after her acknowledging in the car she knew what was upsetting you, why do you think she took you on that walk like that? And then brought up your sister-in-law, never mentioning it. It's her way of letting you know where you stand. It was her way of putting that final nail in the abuse coffin that your father was nailing shut. That was the final nail. Because your mother gave you a little bit of hope, I guess, in the car that she understood and you thought she was going to empathize with you. But no, she showed concern for the sister-in-law. Telling you what? Telling you you really don't matter. Your mother is a much, much bigger problem than you realize. If I bring up my dad to my mom, she gets very defensive. How can you say horrible things about your dad after all he's done for you? Of course he loves you. He helped pay for college. If my dad pays for anything or does any sort of favor, he brings it up for years. Sorry this is long. I guess my question to you has more to do with my brother. I told him what happened in the car because his daughter was in the car and heard her grandpa use some inappropriate language. He just says, yeah, I know dad is pretty weird. He loves us deep down though. Why else would he have helped pay for college? I told him I don't understand. He didn't understand how bad the car incident was. I'm getting the idea that he thinks I might be exaggerating the incident. I wish I had the thought to record it. I think he thinks my dad just has OCD since my dad is so weird with order and stuff. The sink can't be wet, wiping counters in circular motion, no shoes in the house, no sticky food, no ears underwater in the bathtub, etc. What? That's weird. I think dad has both OCD and NPD. My brother still sends his kids to visit my parents and talks to them all the time. I guess he is not fully understanding this yet, so I want him to understand. I'm very close with my brother, but feel like I am the one being alienated and being made to feel that I am nuts and everyone else is normal. So again, thank you for your channel, and I'm finally feeling like I am not, as my dad would say, so fucking weird. Please let me know your thoughts. Thanks so much, Anonymous. Your brother absolutely knows there's a problem with your father. He just doesn't want to acknowledge it. He doesn't want. He's a coward. Your brother knows full well what your father is. Okay, and he bought that. He wouldn't have paid for college bullshit. But your brother would rather you be the black sheep, and it's that simple. And he understands what the dynamic is in your family, and that's how he's trying to keep it. So he's not trying to rock the boat. So I guess if he figures if his father's blowing up in front of his daughter and a couple of fucks in front of your daughter, in front of his daughter, he'll look the other way so he doesn't have to address the greater issue. You know, that's more than OCD. That's just narcissists trying to control people's lives. Realize, though, where the root of all this is. It's coming from your mother. I guarantee you your mother is pulling all of your father's strings if you think about it. I know people like this. I know these covert enablers. It's one thing to enable the narcissist by agreeing with them, by not standing up to them. It's something completely different to do what your mother did after that car incident. That's not enabling. That's covert narcissism. The carrot on the string, the promise and pulled away. Oh my God, she understands why I'm upset. Now she's going to empathize. No, not you. Your sister-in-law. You're meaningless. Even though I know why you're upset. That's covert narcissism. And that's what really screwing you up because you haven't recognized it. The you being away from your father, now your mother saying how much your father. Bullshit. That is your mother trying to draw you back in to take all your father's fire. This is nothing more than another covert narcissist playing the victim. but that's who your mother is. And you need to understand your mother is a bigger problem than your father is, because you haven't even realized what she is yet. Thank you so much for your contribution. Thank you for your story. I really hope that helps. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, or a narcissist you'd like to expose, you know what to do with the PayPal and my email link in the description box. I'll have the video right back to you. This is Ollie Matthews. Thanks for watching. See you all again soon.